Next, we're coming to our new segment, which we are calling Into the DCEU. And this is where we're going to review all of the DC Extended Universe properties. Now, you had a great idea, and that was to explain the difference between DC and Marvel, because maybe not everyone knows this, right?
What do they stand for, and what are they? Because people do not know.
DC?
You have to go from the basics, yes.
DC stands for Detective Comics,
Yep.
because that company, DC Comics, was named after Detective Comics, which was their most popular comic that they were selling back in the 40s, because it used to be under a different company, and when they reformed it, they named it after Detective Comics, which is Batman's title.
So basically, two separate companies that
Yeah,
wrote
Marvel.
two separate entities of all different. Like the Marvel entities are completely separate from the DC. They're two separate companies.
Yeah.
It's like two different television channels.
The characters don't really meet.
No, they're independent.
Marvel.
Of
We're always
another.
talking about the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's your Guardians of the Galaxy. That's your Iron Man, your Captain America, the Hulk, the Avengers. It also includes Black Widow, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Vision, Thor, Spider-Man, Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, Falcon, Winter Soldier. Those are the characters that make up those are the Avengers
and
characters. Plus, Black Panther, Wakanda's there. Plus, later on, we're going to get the X-Men. So all the mutants are going to be in that world, too. So you're going to see, like, Wolverine and Deadpool. Because we're getting a Deadpool movie next year.
I like Wolverine and Deadpool, but some of the X-Men stuff... Oh.
We're looking forward to Deadpool 3. It's probably not coming out for a couple of years. But then we got DC. So DC Extended Universe is all the DC characters. Those are the older characters. You got your Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Cyborg, Robin, who goes along with Batman, plus a bunch of other of those Batman characters. Black Adam,
the Flash.
Shazam. I mentioned the Flash, Aquaman.
Oh yeah, Aquaman.
Okay,
yeah.
That's also where you get Harley Quinn and the Joker because they're Batman villains.
Yeah. Penguin.
Yeah.
Riddler, all those ones.
Yeah, They always say when it comes to super villains, it's if it ain't Batman or Spider-Man, don't worry about it because they got the best rogues galleries. And Spider-Man is Marvel and Batman is DC.
Now,
so we're starting
to people one other thing you need to explain to people: the different versions of the characters.
Oh yeah, jeez.
That's something that is very confused me at first.
Yeah, sometimes they'll get alternate versions of characters.
Yes.
Sometimes it could just be something simple as a derivative character where you got Hulk and you get She-Hulk, right? So it's a derivative character.
That's not the same.
But alternate versions of the same character are usually ones from other dimensions. Or sometimes they could be evil clones because it's all comic book wackiness.
The worst for that is Spider-Man. Explain to people Spider-Man and all his many... I still don't understand how...
But we're talking about DC.
No, but people don't understand. You have a movie and it's about, like, say, Superman. We're seeing the Superman. We saw the Superman. Now we see a Superman. It's a completely different Superman. That's what people don't understand. Explain that to people.
Oh, well, it's kind of like James Bond in that way. Okay? So they just recast and they kind of just... They just redo the continuity, right?
It's not the same story, though, for every time.
No. So the Christopher Reeve Superman, which a lot of people, including myself, grew up on, is different from the Henry Cavill Superman that we're going to be talking about today, right? And Christian Bale's Batman is different than Ben Affleck's Batman that is in the DCEU. That's a separate world, right?
Yes, but
you can almost think of it as a separate dimension.
Like the comic books, you have a series that's about, say, Batman, and that's one series. But then you can have another series running parallel that's about
a completely different Batman.
Yeah. So that's what also
sometimes those are alternate timelines. Yes, sometimes they're alternate dimensions.
Different series.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a comic that starts from goes to A to Z, but it's a whole different person. And you have another one parallel to that. That's the same.
Yeah, so
that's what also confuses people.
You can have classic Batman, but you can also have Batman Beyond, which is in the future, in an alternate future, where Bruce Wayne is no longer Batman. And so now there's another guy, what's his name, Terry McGinnis, who's he's Batman Beyond.
Right. The thing is, you can't be writing the same story for like 80 years. So
I mean, anyway, let's
That's
focus on
accurate.
DC.
Anyway, I just want to have you explain that to people because they don't know that. Because most people do not read comic books.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
So the DCEU movies, they're not connected to the Christopher Reeve Superman, the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, or any of the Tim Burton, Michael Keaton Batman movies. Not connected to any of that. They're starting fresh and they're going again. It's a reboot, right?
Right.
So it starts off in 2013 with Man of Steel, which we have varying opinions on it. Would you like to go first? Or would you like me to start?
You go first and talk about gush about it.
I really enjoy this movie. It's one of my favorites of the DCEU. It's very different from Christopher Reeve's Superman. Those movies were fun and uplifting, and this is why I find a lot of general audiences don't like this Man of Steel movie, is because this movie, it has a lot of dour and sad moments, but then it goes into, it's really uplifting, and it's like you feel good, and there's hope, because it's Superman, right? In fact, that's what the S on his chest stands for. It's Kryptonian, it stands for hope. So he's supposed to be hopeful. Problem is this Superman isn't a lot of fun, right? It's dark and sad and dour, and then there's some great action scenes in it. Some of my favorites parts in this movie are the Smallville fight scene and the Metropolis fight scene with Zod at the end. And the other part that I really enjoy is the first flight, when Superman first flies. So this is a story where you see the gradual progression of Superman. I can explain parts of it because you mentioned before you didn't understand parts of it.
I don't think it's that I didn't understand it. It's that
you didn't think it made sense.
And it doesn't make sense. It's still, even though you explain it to me in those ways, it still doesn't cut the mustard with me.
So Superman in this, it jumps back and forth with time periods. But Superman is discovering himself, and he's like in his late 30s, I guess, and then he's constantly going back to flashbacks of him gaining powers and using powers as he was a kid, as he was a child, and as a teenager, because he doesn't gain them all at once. He slowly gains them because, just like Christopher Reeve's Superman gains his power from the sun. So the longer he's here, the more sunlight he absorbs, the stronger he becomes. And that's because he's from Krypton, which Kryptonians are essentially humans that evolved millions of years before we did on Earth and became an advanced society, and they destroyed their society. They destroyed their whole existence because they became so decadent and made really dumb choices that they destroyed Krypton. There's a lot of social commentary in this at the beginning about destroying your world and using up all your resources and that kind of stuff. Essentially, it's about climate change, social commentary. But Superman in this, Kryptonians evolved to live on Krypton. They're just normal like humans. But because they come from a planet that has such a harsher atmosphere and a red sun, when you send one of those people to Earth, they have to adjust to live here, but they're also way stronger. So he's an alien, and because he draws power from our Earth, which is a younger star, he has all these superpowers. But he's not as powerful as the 1970s Christopher Reeve Superman, because that was way overpowered. So you can't hurt him, you just got to hit him really hard. And I really enjoy the progression of this and the fight with Zod, and Michael Shannon's amazing in this. The way he plays it as a fanatical general, he really sells it. Okay, he's doing a great job acting. He must be chewing all the scenery on set because he looks like he's having a great time. I mean, the action is that's some of the best superhero action scenes I've seen. Okay, especially that Smallville fight. It was great work, and that was Zack Snyder's doing. I suspect a lot of the story is from Christopher Nolan, who also worked on it with his brother, and also the story was also by David S. Goyer, who I'm not really a big fan of his stuff, but he has to work on pretty much every superhero project at Warner Brothers, so all the DC stuff. I give this best movie ever. I can explain some things about it, but I've already talked to you about it, and if anyone has any questions for me on this movie makes a lot of sense regardless of what Christine is going to say. And I've seen this movie so many times, and I'm going to continue to watch it. That's why I have my Blu-ray copy of it. I even have a Blu-ray 3D copy, but I don't watch the 3D version anymore.
You lost your glasses.
No, I still have them. I know where they are, and I can charge them at any time to use them. I just can't be bothered with it. But this movie is a visual feast, and I really enjoy the storyline. So I give it best movie ever. What kind of ranking would you give this one, the first movie of the DCEU?
I did not like it at all. I had seen it when it first came out, and I remembered I didn't like it. And I watched it again last week, and I really didn't like it. I find it's inconsistent. It doesn't make much sense. These very advanced society just let themselves get blown up, and they can only send sure, I like the whole thing with Superman. His parents send him off to Earth, and he's crashing as a baby. But it doesn't make sense the way they portrayed it in this version. It doesn't make sense.
You didn't like Russell Crowe as Jor-El?
It makes no sense. Anyway, and it's very inconsistent. Superman himself is not awe-inspiring in any way. He's just like roaming around the earth, doing some odd jobs. He doesn't try to help anybody. He's just doing his own thing. He doesn't say very much. What he does say isn't that smart.
He's kind of stoic.
No, he's kind of stunned.
Well,
that's me.
This is kind of his first day on the job as Superman, and he has to fight Kryptonians and General Zod.
Can't even stay home to paint his mother's house. And
he was off discovering himself.
Off the coast of Newfoundland fishing somewhere. He's not helping anybody. He doesn't seem... The portrayal of Superman, I really don't like it. He's a dud. He's a real dud. The only reason why he's involved in this movie is because the people are after him. Mm-hmm. So he has to be involved in it. If they weren't after him, he would not be involved in it because he doesn't involve himself in anything. He's got his head down all the time, just pretending to be a nobody.
You talk about he's saving people all the time.
No, rarely. He's not like...
You talk about he saved those fishermen. He saved all those oil rig workers.
Because he was there.
He saved all those oil rig workers.
He's not trying to search out people to help. He's just doing his own thing. Anyway, it's poor. His father dies saving a dog from a tornado, and the dog probably was going to survive the tornado anyway.
The death of Pa Kent
was ridiculous.
The death of Pa Kent is not very good. But Jor-El, Russell Crowe as Jor-El, his biological father, he's great.
It's just poor, and it's so inconsistent. He has strength, then he doesn't have strength, and then he has strength again, then he doesn't have strength. His strength wanes throughout the whole movie. It doesn't grow, as you say. It doesn't. It wanes back and forth.
It does grow, and he loses it only when he's exposed to Kryptonian atmosphere.
No Kryptonian. He loses it on Earth. It makes no sense. It doesn't make sense, even though you tried to explain to me why Zod all of a sudden has no control over his senses when he's on Earth. This guy's been through all the wars, and he all of a sudden can't handle Earth. Doesn't make sense. It's just poor. They're smashing up the city, but yet their city is smashed, and then the next scene the city is fine. And then the next scene, the city is smashed, and the next scene, the city is fine.
Did you see how big that city was?
No,
they only blew up one part of it.
If they were creating earthquakes every 5 seconds, the city would be smashed. And the only people that survive on the whole street are the 3 people that Lois works with.
Well, yeah, they're the stars. You're not going to get rid of your big stars.
There's nobody else there. It was just poor, and the relationship between him and Lois is really stunted. It's really stunted. They hardly even talk. And then they're kissing, which I think is just unprofessional. It's
all about the action.
No, it's just poor. And the action is terrible. In my mind, it's just terrible. And
so you think the romance was a bit forced? You think they should have...
It's so forced, and there isn't even a romance. She's just after a story.
Yeah.
And he flies her around and stuff. I think it was
They could have waited till the next movie for them.
Poor. And I thought, I don't know, it was just bad. And Zod's motivations don't make any sense. I just think it's a very poor movie.
I thought his motivations made perfect sense.
Not to me. And I know what's going on in the movie. It's not like I don't know what's going on.
He's trying to restore Krypton.
I give this movie a 32
Ouch.
So
Ouch.
I really didn't like it, and I
Okay.
did remember not liking it.
Okay.
And I don't. I think it's like, to me, I almost feel like it's disrespectful to Superman. Anyway, that's how I feel about it.
This is actually quite respectful of canon from the comics.
It's disrespectful of Superman. The portrayal of the character is just wrong in my mind.
This is just a different version of Superman, so it's a reboot. I'll tell you, on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 56% Rotten critic rating and a 75% audience score. So 3/4 of people said they liked it.
That's not very good, though.
That's pretty good.
No. It's not a good movie. I totally did not like it.
I don't think this movie made a lot of money because they never did make a Man of Steel 2, and they're not going to now. The DCEU they've said it's going to come to an end. They haven't really told us what's happening, except that it's rebooting, sort of, but some characters are going to stay the same and others are going to change, so we're getting a new Superman. Personally, I really enjoy this Man of Steel movie from 2013. It's not your thing.
No.
I respect your opinion, and you did have some good points there, okay? The Lois and Clark thing, I could definitely see. They could have waited. They didn't need to have them, be kissing at the end of this movie, because why would they be? They barely know each other.
And what also doesn't make sense is at the end he puts glasses on and then goes to join the newsroom.
But they did have
and
a
they
near-death
don't recognize him?
They did have a near-death experience together when they were on that Kryptonian ship. Maybe that really bonded them.
But her co-workers have seen him too, and he just puts a dorky pair of glasses on. It made sense that he's at the newspaper first and they don't know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. This makes no sense that at the end, and they all know who he looks like, then he joins the newspaper? He's got no skills to join the newspaper. He works out on a fishing boat. He's like an oil pig.
There's no requirements to be a journalist.
He can't get a job at the newspaper. This guy just knows how to put fences together or something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, they shouldn't have done a newspaper, even in 2013. I mean, talk about a dead industry.
There are still newspapers.
I mean, they still got newspapers, but you still need investigative journalists, but
you love those investigative journalists.
Well, hey, I'm not going to get into my opinion of that, but you still need investigative journalists, but you don't need newspapers. You just have different news outlets. It's all online,
Sorry to newspapers. I do love a good newspaper.
Come on, this isn't...
You don't, but I do.
This isn't
anyway,
1890.
No, it isn't. It makes no sense that he goes to the newspaper at the end and no one seems to know who he is. Even though he's this giant guy with these big muscles and just has a little pair of glasses on. His hair isn't even different. Like, he doesn't even act different. Like, anyway. Clark Kent is like goofy. His hair is slicked back. He's got the glasses and he's all goofy. And nobody has no idea he's Superman because
that's
they
the
haven't
Christopher
seen
Reeve Superman.
They haven't seen Superman before. They've just seen the guy. He's just been there and they know what he looks like. And then they don't recognize him. Anyway.
That's always been the
maybe
thing.
They have bad opticians.
That's always been the thing about Superman. Eyesight. It's like, how do they not know,
Well, it's coming from
Clark Kent?
Yeah, it's coming from
Superman.
left field.
They could never tell.
No, but at least they have no reference point. They've just seen him, and now he comes to work for them. And what is he gonna do? Fish for them? I mean,
no, he's the new stringer. He's gonna be doing stories.
Oh, he has so much experience at that.
I don't know. Did he finish college?
No,
I don't think he did.
He just went off to work on a fishing boat and be an oil pig or something.
He went on a walkabout to help people and find himself. He was also working in that town as a busboy at the bar.
Yeah, he's got so many skills.
Then he was hitchhiking for a while.
He's like he doesn't have the qualifications. Gosh. Anyway, you know how hard it is to get to work at a newspaper because there aren't very many jobs in there anymore. Anyway, on that note, that's my say on it. I think it's not very good.
I think they did the Daily Planet because that's such a part of Superman's lore, but they could have done it as like an online site. It could have been the dailyplanet.com.
That wasn't my problem with it. My problem was that they put that at the end of the movie, not at the beginning. Anyway, just moping around on a fishing boat. That made no sense at all. Abandon his poor mother. She can't pay her own house. Her house is falling down and he's off.
Do you agree that they did a good job of showing how poor the Kents are?
No. Because they have a farm. They have lots of land. They're not poor.
Yeah, but now that his father's dead and his mother can't keep up the farm.
Because he's off on some fishing boat. That made no sense why he wasn't helping her.
Mm-hmm.
She could be a teacher in school. I don't know. We don't know anything about her.
Well, we do learn more about the house in the next movie.
Well, it needs a painting.
So oh yeah, Zod trashed. He threw the truck into it.
No, it wasn't looking good before that. I mean, it just didn't. It was just so inconsistent.
But Zod did throw the truck because he was
Well,
throwing a temper tantrum and it landed on his house.
Just get her a new house and paint it up for her.
He doesn't have any money. Superman's poor.
Now.
Okay, you're thinking of Bruce Wayne. He's got all the money.
No, but they're not poor. They have like trucks and houses. That's not poor. Anyway.
Okay. I really enjoyed this. I know a lot of people enjoy it. A lot of people don't enjoy it. You've heard our opinions. What do you think of Man of Steel from 2013? Personally, I think it's great. Definitely best movie ever. So next we're going to be watching Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice from 2016. That's the second movie.
All I remember about this movie was that I was prepared that it probably wasn't going to be very good. And I saw it, and what I saw is what I thought I was going to get. And I remember you were so excited, and you were like,
I was excited.
This isn't very good.
It was a big disappointment for me.
It met my expectation level.
If you enjoyed either of these movies, don't worry about what we have to say. And if you enjoy Man of Steel, just do what I do. Don't worry about what Christine has to say on it. I watch it over and over again. She doesn't have to watch it with me.
I think we can have fun in the next one, making fun of it.
Heck yeah.
I think that would be fun because I know you didn't enjoy it. I think you did enjoy it. I didn't.
Good, Kitty.
I just thought I knew what it was going to be like, and it was like that. So I wasn't really disappointed.
Say something nice about Man of Steel. Say one nice thing. And I'll say one bad thing about it.
One nice thing.
I already said bad things about it. I don't like the Jonathan Kent death.
Well, I thought that the look of Krypton was really cool.
Oh yeah, I love Krypton in this, even though it makes no sense. I love it.
The problem is that it was too cool because they shouldn't have been that smart. That was the problem. It was too cool. It wouldn't have been that cool because they're falling. The place is gonna blow up. That was the problem with it. But I thought it did look cool.
You're not understanding the point. It's a decadent society that has become so decadent and lost their way. They've led themselves to ruin.
Makes sense. Anyway, I thought that was cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I give it that.
Okay. Let us know what you think of Man of Steel from 2013. Do you like it? Do you not? Are you one of those Snyderverse people that love all these things? I don't know. Let us know down in the comments below. And that's our first segment of, what do we call it again? Into the DCEU.
DCEU.
Okay.